Listen, America, we're concerned about you. We love you. And this is sort of an intervention. We're concerned about the way you're going, and we're wondering if you even understand or see what's happening to you right now. This is sort of like somebody who's, maybe with a substance abuse problem or something like this, and we just say, hey, give yourself a shake. You see what's happening to you? We see it because we see you every day. Maybe you don't because it's going on around you, and you're too busy with your lives. And I think that's one of the things that concerns many Canadians on this side of the border, and people right around the world for that matter, too. America, you need to see what's happening. Not just look in the mirror, but look around you.
Welcome to the Bill Kelly Podcast, critical discussions in critical times. Here's your host, Bill Kelly.
Welcome to another edition of the Bill Kelly Podcast, critical discussions in these critical times. I'm your host, Bill Kelly. Great to have you with us today. It was just a few days ago in the last podcast that we talked about Canada Day, the celebration of the birth of this great nation that many of us live in and enjoy and thrive in. But I want to focus to our neighbors to the south right now because as we're doing this podcast, we are approaching, and some of you probably watching this podcast the day of or the days after, the American birthday, 4th of July, big day for Americans, of course. 249 years old. Happy birthday, our good friends in the United States of America. But what I want to talk about here today is maybe as Americans are celebrating their birthday and talking about their patriotism and basically gushing with national pride, sometimes you need to look in the mirror and find out just where you're going. And to that point, listen, America, we're concerned about you. We love you. And this is sort of an intervention. We're concerned about the way you're going, and we're wondering if you even understand or see what's happening to you right now. This is sort of like somebody who's, maybe with a substance abuse problem or something like this, and we just say, hey, give yourself a shake. You see what's happening to you? We see it because we see you every day. Maybe you don't because it's going on around you, and you're too busy with your lives. And I think that's one of the things that concerns many Canadians on this side of the border, and people right around the world for that matter, too. America, you need to see what's happening. Not just look in the mirror, but look around you. And there's a lot of things happening because of the guy in the White House that we've talked about. But just as importantly is the people in America that seem to give this guy a pass or just are simply not paying attention. And there are a couple of things I want to talk about that I think underscore that point. And one of them, of course, is the legislation, the beautiful bill that Trump talks about that's passing in the Senate and eventually is going to become law down there. And maybe you don't get involved in that sort of thing. Maybe you figure, come on, that doesn't really impact me. Well, it does. Maybe you don't care that when this bill passes, 17 million people are going to lose health care in the United States. They don't have a great system of health care like we do in Canada. And people with low incomes or sometimes no incomes or even moderate incomes are going to lose their health care. You know how much it costs to stay in the hospital for a day? You know how much it costs for replacement surgery, cardiac surgery? You can't pay that out of your pocket, but 17 million people are going to lose that. Electricity costs are going to go up right now because of this bill. Millions of manufacturing jobs are going to be lost. Food assistance programs, education programs. Trump is withholding funds for education programs for schools right across the country. What the hell is this guy thinking? But that's what he's doing. And, of course, increasing the deficit, which a lot of people don't pay attention to, but you're going to pay for that, and your kids and your grandkids and everything else. So that's there. And maybe you don't care about the fact that Trump is now withholding much needed funds for Ukraine to help them in their battle to try to maintain their sovereignty in their country. And at the same time, of course, that he's announcing that he's withholding funds. He hasn't frozen them yet, but he's withholding them. The fact of the matter is that the help's not getting there. And at the same time, North Korea just announced that they're going to help fund the Russians and fortify the Russians with the equipment for their fight to try to take over that country. That doesn't seem right. And this is one of the things that I think people have to understand. There's things going on around you that are going to have implications, not just globally, but in your neighborhood as well. And that's what's happening. And maybe one of the most disturbing, along a long list of things in the United States these days, is Trump's latest little fantasy thing here. Of course, it's called Alligator Alcatraz. Now, if you don't know what this is all about, when you finish watching the podcast, Google that, Alligator Alcatraz. What this is it's a makeshift prison that was hastily put together in Florida, in the Everglades, and it's basically a detention center for, well, whatever people Trump wants to put in there. And keep in mind that I think it holds like 40,000 people. It's a rather large area. And it's called Alligator Alcatraz because the Everglades, of course, you're surrounded by alligators and snakes and a number of other things. And you figure if you try to escape, you're going to get eaten by that. Mind you, they've had authorities and experts from Florida saying that, look, alligators don't eat people. If you step on one, it might bite you, but it's not going to eat you. They don't eat people. The snakes down there might eat small kids, but that's not going to happen because small kids aren't going to go to those prisons. Sadly, Trump puts those small kids that ICE picks up and arrests in other places, but they're not in this one yet. Which is another sad story that I think we have to talk about here. It's you can't turn your back on stuff like this. And I've seen this happen, and we've seen this happen historically in so many other countries, that, well, it's not impacting me, and those are probably bad people. Well, maybe they are, but maybe they aren't, because a lot of the people that are being incarcerated and arrested, for that matter, have never been charged with anything. They've never gone through the justice system here. They're guilty of being bad people because Donald Trump and his people say they're bad people. And that's a very, very slippery slope to get into. When you've got a guy like Trump, an authoritarian, running the thing just basically for he and his buddies, if he says you're bad, then it's to be taken you're bad. This is Putin. This is Orban. This is dictatorship at the very worst situation, and it's happening in America. I never thought I would see this happen in our lifetimes. I was hoping we'd never see this happen in our lifetimes to this country. The first Trump term, we thought, okay, the guy's obviously, not with it. He doesn't understand anything, but at least there were a few people still left in the Republican Party in those days in that first administration that had some sense of governing and some sense of right and wrong. This second term, those people are gone. All he wants are people that are going to kiss his butt, and he's got a bunch of them right now, including people like Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem. She's in charge of Homeland Security, the safety of the nation. She told a story. She was at the Trump walk around in Alcatraz, Alligator Alcatraz, and she told a story about the ICE people arresting a guy who was a cannibal. Says she anyway. And they put this guy in the plane. They arrest him, put him on the plane. He starts eating himself, and we had to take him to the hospital. They check with Homeland Security. They check with authorities. There's no validation for any of this stuff. This wild fantasy story that she's giving is just like Trump. Remember during the election campaign, they're eating our dogs, they're eating our cats, and some people believe this sort of stuff. It's frightening that this is what's happened to the United States. Now, and again, I'm not trying to put everybody under the same blanket here. I know there are some extremely intelligent people and some extremely concerned people in the United States these days that understand what's happening here, but an awful lot of people just aren't paying attention, or they really don't care because it's not happening to them and it doesn't have a direct impact on their lives. But when you have authoritarian governments basically putting, well, gulags, I mean, that's what Putin calls them. You can call them whatever you want here, but Trump toured this thing, and what it is it's this, rows upon rows of beds and cages, which is what they're going to keep people in here, and they want to build more of them. They want to build them in the southern states. They want to build them all over the country right now. This is frightening that this is happening in the United States of America, and yes, they're right below us here, to our southern neighbor, and we're concerned about that. But look at what's happening to this great country and to the people of this great country. And look, I know there are some people here who are just bent and crazy, and maybe as crazy as Donald Trump is. But the sad part about it is there are other people in the elected Congress and the Senate who probably know this is wrong in their heart of hearts, but they're scared out of their wits to speak out against Trump because they're afraid that then he's going to get mad at them. And he's already shown that what he will do to political enemies. You're going to run somebody against you, make sure you don't get elected again. And even if that was the case, your job when you become an elected official, whether it's Congress, whether it's the Senate, whether it's the House of Parliament here in Canada, your job is to work for the people of Canada and for the country, not to get yourself reelected so you can have a nice cushy pension. If that's your focus and that's your priority, then you're in the wrong business. And you know what? You're doing a great disservice to the country and to the people that voted for you. Your job is to look after the well-being of the country. And there are a lot of people in elected office in the United States right now just aren't doing that. And that scares me. And frankly, it hurts me and it bothers me because this was a great nation. And for all these people that wear these stupid MAGA hats, to make America great again, you're making America Terrible. I mean, the economy has gone down the toilet, and Trump wants to blame Joe Biden, for everything. There's no evidence. I mean, the economy was doing quite well under Biden. And here we are a year and a half later, and all of a sudden he's going to blame Biden for all the downturns. It's because of the stuff that Donald Trump is doing. And Americans need to wake up to what's going on here. And the person who's causing this, that they're his policies, not Biden's policies. They're Donald Trump's policies. And even this bill that we talked about, this beautiful bill that he's talking about, it's really just to give even more tax cuts to Trump's billionaire friends, to the Jeff Bezos and to the Zuckerbergs, and there's a whole long line of them that made huge donations to Trump. They're going to benefit hugely by this, and they know that they're never going to see themselves in one of these places like Alligator Alcatraz. They're fine. So the rich get richer, and the poor get crushed under, and that's not the way that it's supposed to be in the United States of America. Do me a favor to our great American friends, and as you celebrate your birthday and celebrate America's history, do yourself a favor. All right, Google it, look out the United States Constitution. All right, it'll only take you a couple of minutes. Read it. Read what the founding fathers wanted to see the United States look like. Read what they envisioned for this. About 3 separate levels of government, separate but equal, looking after each other and acting as balances against each other, and looking after the welfare of the people. Read it and ask yourself, is that where you are right now? Is that where the United States is right now? The answer is no, absolutely no. There's always time to try to correct the ship here, and we hope, as your northern neighbors who love you and care about you, we hope that there's an awakening in the United States to say, hey, we're going in the wrong direction here, and people are getting hurt. People are dying because of some of the policies of this guy in the White House, and something's got to be done about it. We care about you. We want to see you look after yourself, and that's the plea right now. So happy birthday to our American friends. And please, please look in the mirror, look around you, and see what you can do to make America the great land that Thomas Jeffersons and the Alexander Hamiltons and the other founding fathers wanted it to be. Because you're not there. As a matter of fact, you seem to be going the wrong direction these days. So let's talk about that, and let's talk about how we can make the United States an incredible nation like it should be, and somebody who's going to fight for the rights of individuals and look for the leadership that we've always had from the United States globally in places like NATO and places like the G7. And we know, as we've talked about in other podcasts, other countries, including Canada, have to pull our weight on these things. And I think there's a realization of that now. We've heard that from France, from Germany, certainly from Prime Minister Carney in this country. We get it. We're awake on this. We understand what's going on right now. But now we're looking at our most powerful member of NATO and the G7, and it's all about, hey, what's in it for me? And I'm talking about Donald Trump here and his rich friends. That's not what this is all supposed to be about. So let's hope that the United States has an awakening. And all of a sudden, this intervention, and I'm hoping it's going to come from other places as well, to get these guys back on track. Because we want the United States to be strong. We want the people of the United States to prosper, just like we want to prosper in our country. All right? We can live together. We can look at mutual things that are going to help both of us, and we can maintain our sovereignty and your sovereignty. But as long as you've got a guy like Trump in the White House and some of the things that he's doing and wants to do right now, and sucking up to people like Putin and Kim Jong-un and others, that dream, that American dream that all Americans gravitate to and embrace, is in serious peril right now. And something's got to be done, and it's got to come from within. That's it for this edition of the podcast. Thanks, as always, for being with us. By the way, if you're just joining us, great to have you with us. You can catch us on any of the platforms, YouTube, Substack, Spotify, you name it, Blue Sky. And we also look for your input, too. As you'll notice when you go down some of our other podcasts, we always add background material for you to kind of embellish the discussion about what we want to talk about key issues like this. And we'll look forward to your feedback and your input onto that in the coming days as well. Thanks, as always, to Madeline Kelly for the great work putting this one together. I'm Bill Kelly. Until next time, stay in touch and stay informed.
Bill Kelly Podcast brought to you by Wizen's Law, personal injury lawyers. Listen, you didn't choose to get injured, but you can choose the right lawyer. Wizen's Law, 905-522-1102 or wizenslaw.com.